Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Thursday evening, September 14, 2023. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video, share it, subscribe and tap the notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I post a brand new video. Feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section letting me know what the weather has been like in your area recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. I respond to all comments and I really live for this stuff. Alright, so let us take a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening. We can still see that we have Hurricane Lee and Hurricane Margot right there across the northern portions of the North Atlantic, and we don't have much taking place across the Caribbean at this time. We still have that broad area of low pressure across the main development region that still has a chance of development as it moves towards the northwest. It's definitely not going to be affecting the Caribbean at all. If we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can see those areas of clouds and swirl right there associated with Hurricane Lee, and to the east of Lee we have Hurricane Margot. We can also see that new area right there across the main development region starting to swirl around that center right there as it makes its way to possibly develop. The next name on the list is Nigel, and it's this system that the National Hurricane Center is watching for possible development as it moves towards the northwest. Let us take a look at the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today. It was stated that we would have received some amount of afternoon rainfall across sections of some central and western parishes in Jamaica. We know central parishes, we're referring to those parishes in the county of Middlesex, western parishes, those parishes in the county of Cornwall. And what ended up happening? A late afternoon post was made on our Twitter, Facebook, Instagram and TikTok pages highlighting the infrared satellite images of Jamaica showing clouds bringing overcast skies and some amount of isolated showers to sections of some central and western parishes, especially inland areas of those parishes. So maybe the hilly interior of Jamaica right there around the border of the northern and southern parishes in Jamaica across those central and western spots. But we do see that we indeed have some amount of thunderstorms first across some southeastern parishes. Taking a look at the visible satellite images of Jamaica today before the sun went down, we can see that we had that buildup of clouds right there across some central and western parishes, especially the hilly inland areas of those spots. Then we had those clouds becoming cumulonimbus clouds. Then we have those high cold cloud tops being blown off towards the southeast, and we see it even better on the infrared satellite images right now with those high cold cloud tops as indicated by those blues, greens, yellows, oranges, reds, not to mention the sparkling white dust that indicates some amount of lightning flashes if not lightning strikes. And we do see that we have some activities taking place right now. So sections of northern Clarendon, sections of northern St. Catherine, maybe even western St. Andrew getting in on some amount of isolated thunder showers at this time. Let's reload these images to get the latest, and I guess that was the latest image. Taking a look at the Doppler radar images right now from the Cuban weather site, we can see that we have some amount of isolated thunder showers right there exiting sections of St. Elizabeth right there, and we do see that rainfall across sections of St. Catherine as well, just like what we mentioned and saw on the infrared satellite images. Taking a look at the accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours by the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology, we do see that we indeed had that rainfall, especially across inland areas of Jamaica right there along the border of the northern and southern parishes in Jamaica. So northern St. Elizabeth, northern Manchester, northern Clarendon, northern St. Catherine, especially a section of northern St. Andrew, northwestern St. Thomas got in on some amount of rainfall for today, just like what we saw in the satellite images. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, we can say we have 28 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 28 degrees Celsius in Kingston, and as usual as the night progresses, these temperatures should be getting lower. As it relates to the temperature forecast for tomorrow, we do still see Jamaica embedded in some yellows, oranges, that represent some amount of above normal temperatures. That represents up to at least 3 degrees Celsius above normal. We predicted yesterday that we would have received anywhere from 32 to 35 degrees Celsius. Literally had commenters sending in messages showing the temperature in their specific area up to 34 degrees Celsius. So the temperature was indeed hot today, and it's definitely going to be hot on Friday, as both maps from the Euro and the GFS are showing these orange shades for 1 p.m. on Friday that represent above normal temperatures. I know the average temperatures for the month of September is about 90 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about the equivalent of 32 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving anywhere from 32 to 35 degrees Celsius again. So ensure that you all stay hydrated as much as you possibly can. Stay cool. Stay out of the sunlight during peak hours anytime between the hours of 9 and 4. Alright, so let's just take a look at the dry air map. We can see some isolated spots of dry air as indicated by the yellow. We see the key at the bottom. We have the least amount of dry air indicated by the yellow. Then the more intense it gets, we get into the oranges, the reds, the whites. And we do see some amount of yellows that represent some amount of dry air across sections of the central Caribbean and the southern Caribbean. And we can see that across sections of southern Jamaica at this time. However, we do have that dry air, but we don't have saran dust. This is actually the saran dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Friday, and we still don't have much taking place across majority of the Caribbean, even the Gulf of Mexico. We're in the clear. Majority of the saran dust is right there across the northern section of the main development region, and sections of Africa is indicated by those darker shades of brown. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we'll still see that we have 0.5 meter wave heights or less as indicated by those light blue shades. If we take a look at the key at the bottom, that represents those wave heights, and we see it on the Euro and the GFS model, and that's due to the fact that the winds are not going to be that strong. Less than 10 knot winds are what's being expected coming in from the east tomorrow. More than likely more of a southerly or southeasterly flow across southern parishes, more of a northeasterly or east northeasterly flow across northern parishes, and we see that on both the Euro and the GFS models. And we do see those darker shades of blues right there across those very spots that we had the rainfall today, inland areas of some central and western parishes, right there across northern areas of some southern parishes and southern areas of some northern parishes. So definitely that's where we're going to be seeing that afternoon convection tomorrow, inland areas of some central and western parishes in Jamaica. And with the upper level wind coming in from the north, the chances, like what we saw today, we might see some of that happening again, with more of the overcast skies and isolated thunder showers across sections of some southern parishes in Jamaica. We see that on both the Euro and the GFS models for the upper level wind forecast. So taking a look at the temperature forecast right now, not the temperature forecast, the rainfall forecast, we do see those blues that represent some amount of rainfall across mainly central and western parishes in Jamaica, and this is valid for 3 p.m. Jamaica time. This is the Euro model. What does the GFS show? Much of the same thing, even more intense with those darker shades of blues right there across southern Trelawney, southwest St. Anne, northern Manchester, northern St. Elizabeth, northern Clarendon, not northern Maple. We do see those darker shades of blues right there. We do see some amount of shades of blues across sections of Kingston and St. Andrew, southern St. Mary, western Portland. We shall see exactly what unfolds with that for 3 p.m. on Friday. Skipping ahead to about 5 p.m. on Friday, we still see some lighter shades of blues right there across sections of some southern parishes in Jamaica, even on the GFS model as well, incorporating some of the western parishes as well, maybe St. James, Hanover and Westmoreland. So we're definitely in for some amount of rainfall for tomorrow, and we see that on the accumulated precipitation forecast with the very areas that we just mentioned, definitely going to be receiving some amount of rainfall tomorrow. We're only seeing about 0.19 of an inch of rainfall across right here, maybe eastern Jamaica, southeastern Jamaica, that is maybe Kingston and St. Andrew on the Euro model. GFS is a bit more robust with the amount of rainfall, but the location for the rainfall definitely remains the same, central and western Jamaica, with the GFS showing up to 0.41 of an inch of rainfall. And we're indeed grateful that we're going to be getting in on some amount of rainfall for tomorrow. We're in our primary rainy season. We usually receive an uptick, an increase in the amount of rainfall across the entire island for this month. And we all can't wait until we get into the month of October for the most rainfall that we normally get for the year. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let's focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So we can see that we don't have much happening across the Caribbean at all. Most of these systems seem to be taking a liking to the northern portion of the North Atlantic. Nothing is really going west. There's a lack of high pressure. All of these storms are causing these systems to be moving north because they are eroding away at the high pressure ridge. So we don't have much taking place. Caribbean is definitely dry. Even sections of northeastern South America that we usually see a lot of rainfall, like French Guiana, Suriname, Guyana, eastern Venezuela, not getting in on much. It's western Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica. Those are the spots getting in on the rainfall. We don't even see much rainfall across Nicaragua. We do see rainfall, however, across sections of Guatemala, El Salvador, and Honduras during the afternoon. Today, even sections of the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico. Taking a look, let's take a look at the radar images right here. Let's see if I can reload the images quickly for the northeastern Caribbean. Okay, it doesn't seem to be wanting to show me. Alright, let us take a look at the Barbados radar right now. We don't see much happening at all. Maybe one or two isolated showers right there, maybe to the far south of Barbados. Maybe some going into sections of the Grenadine Islands. Even sections of northern Trinidad might have gotten in on some amount of rainfall for today. Taking a look at the wider view of Doppler radar images, okay, we can now see the northeastern Caribbean. So definitely still getting in on some amount of rainfall across sections of eastern portion of the Dominican Republic. Maybe some rainfall coming into sections of the US and British Virgin Islands. We do see that rainfall that we just mentioned earlier on the areas over here across Central America. So sections of Guatemala, Belize, definitely getting in on some amount of rainfall at this time. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, we do see the yellows and the oranges that represent some amount of above normal temperatures, maybe even 4 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures across the Caribbean. But look at northern South America, definitely getting in on at least up to 8 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures as indicated by those darker reds right there. And we do see the same thing on the Euro and the GFS model, definitely going to be getting in on those above normal temperatures from the Caribbean to South America. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we do see that both the Euro and the GFS are still showing 1.5 meter wave heights for the central and eastern Caribbean, and majority of the western Caribbean including Jamaica getting 0.5 meter wave heights or less. However, we do see that Hurricane Lee and Margot are still kicking up the waters of the northern section of North Atlantic as indicated by all of those purples, reds and oranges, not to mention the whites within those reds and oranges that represent some very high wave heights. Anywhere from 2 meter wave heights or more is what is being expected right now across those spots, definitely churning up the waters of the east coast of the United States. And we can see the wind field associated with these systems. We know the yellow represents 25 knot winds, and the more intense it gets as it goes to the center. Reds, purples, blues, still a strong hurricane at this time, while the rest of the Caribbean should be getting in on some slight easterly wind, especially the far south of Hispaniola right there as indicated by those greens that represent at least 20 knot winds. Taking a look at the rain forecast for tomorrow, we can still see that we have that trailing of clouds sucking into sections of Hurricane Lee across sections of Hispaniola, Puerto Rico. Not much happening across majority of the eastern Caribbean. The Leeward and Windward Islands are in the clear. Majority of northeastern South America are in the clear. So Guyana, eastern Venezuela, Suriname, French Guiana definitely in the clear. It's actually western Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica. Sections of especially western Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, southern Belize that the maps are showing the rainfall for. Even sections of Cuba and sections of Florida is where the rainfall is located, even sections of the Cayman Island as well. And we do see the consensus on both the U and the GFS malls. I know that when we see consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.